Alright, welcome. So I want to do a video on OSPF stub areas, and this is going to be hopefully the final video I do on OSPF for a while. I want to do this once and for all, and then move on to the topics that are more relevant to the future. I'm actually kind of disappointed with the first part of the book being OSPF, because if we looked at the AI the AI data center for Juniper, there's no ASPF in the validated design there. There's no it's just this is the whole thing. It's all software defined, right? It's all new. Like OSPF is basically like a retired concept now. Like they're using Cisco ACI, right? They're using this Juniper Apstra platform. It's like it's a totally different thing. It's like software defined, right? So it's just like I feel like I'm ready to move on from things like OSPF and really dive into things like Cisco ACI and Juniper Apstra and this actually like validated designs, things like prompt engineering. So it's just kind of disappointing to me that I have to go back and learn about something that personally I've never used OSPF in my career either, not once. I mean, a little bit, I've seen it out there in the wild, but it's like you don't just get to like do something out in your career just because like you learned about it or you're certified in it, you're qualified in it. Like you do things based on the business need, right? And like I haven't seen like a lot of business need for OSPF. Like I've definitely seen it, I've definitely configured it and worked with it, but like it's just it hasn't been like that big, like so. Yeah, like BGP is out there, MPLS is out there, OSPF is out there too, but it's just uh, yeah, a lot of the stuff. Yeah, so I mean, I've kind of haven't had a really perfect like layer 3 centered thing, and this it's not accurate to say I haven't seen OSPF out there. I have seen it quite a bit. I've actually seen it used as a alternative to ISIS. But yeah. So with that, I do want to make a final kind of going away video for OSPF before I dive into other concepts of the test. So my lab needs to boot up. It'll take a little bit of time for that. All right. Um, Not sure how much time it will take. I just booted it up now. Uh, so yeah, I'm still reading the book. I'm basically exclusively using ChatGPT as my strategy. We're focusing on active recall. It's giving me, so I'm reading portions of the book to it, and then it's giving me like a quiz on what I read, and then if I have a confusion, I have a conversation with it. That's been working pretty well, but unfortunately I'm making pretty slow progress. I actually decided to go back and read from the beginning of chapter 1, even though I had read all the way through chapter 1, because I only started using that strategy of interacting with the AI for like the last subject. So I might be able to skip forward after I'm done with the BGP and the BFD sections, bidirectional forwarding section, because I started using that strategy for multicast PIM, and then I for the what was the last well that's what was the last section, shoot. Oh, right. Yeah, and then I used it completely for first hop redundancy protocols. I kind of developed the strategy halfway through the multicast PIM protocol independent media uh, you know subject, and then I used it completely for first hop redundancy protocols, which was kind of one of my it's weird though. It's like I feel like especially for like more advanced exams, you know, there's once things start getting more, and I think this is a good thing to a good like wisdom to impart to anyone taking a more advanced level exam like a CCNP or even a CCIE, is like all of a sudden the things you thought you were the strongest in are now, you know, weak as well, and it might be something that you completely never had any exposure to. You know, once you learn it, it's just not that hard. Like it's going to be your stronger subject. But like the things that you thought like, oh, I don't have to put as much time into this because I really know it well. Well, once you start going into the more advanced concepts, it's like, oh, really? You know it well? Well, tell me about opaque LSAs type 10 and 11. Tell me about stuff that was not in any other book that you've ever read before, but is in the CCIE book. And in fact, it isn't in the book. It's one of those things where they say it's not on the curriculum. Tell me about, you know, these every little tiny detail of the you know, packet as you see in Wireshark. Memorize all the fields. It's like, no, you can easily get into a situation where your strongest thing that you thought was your best is what made you fail the test. So you really kind of have to have a comprehensive and thorough approach, in my opinion, where like the official cert guide kind of, I think, tricks you in this regard, because it has these do I know this already questions, and presumably if you get them all right, you can move on and skip that chapter. Well, I would say even if you get them all right, you know, spend some time on that chapter. There's like graceful LSAs, you know, it's dense. It's just once you start getting up into the CCNP, CCIE levels, it's just dense. Like they just want you to know a lot of random stuff. So, you know, be careful not to fall into that trap where you kind of neglect your strongest subject because you think you don't need as much time for it, but then all of a sudden all the details are there that weren't there before, and now that's what caused you to fail because you didn't put in the time to brush up and truly you know, master that subject completely. And then not all the subjects are the same, right? Like some are pretty easy and some are pretty hard. So a lot of the times I think you might feel like something's your strongest subject because you spent a lot of time on it, but you know that can give a false sense of security as well, because the reason you might have spent a lot of time on it is because it's one of the really deep subjects. So it might feel like your strongest subject because you spent so much time on it, but you know it's the hardest one. So you've only spent, even though you spent so much time on it, more time than the other subjects, you've only hit a small fraction of what you need to know. All right, so I want to talk about stub areas. So now an OSPF stub area, I had a great conversation with the AI. What we decided to do, the AI and I, was make a list. So list is going to be from most restrictive to least restrictive. And then what's going to be on the list is each of the OSPF stub areas. How many are there? Anyone? 3, 2, 1. There are 4. And what are they? 3, 2, 1. This is what they are. They are a totally stubby area. They are a not so stubby area with summaries. They are a not so stubby area, also known as an NSSA. and they are just a regular vanilla basic stub area. All right, if you got that right, congratulations. If not, this is what I mean. If you thought you knew OSPF and you didn't know there were 4 different kinds of stub areas, man, like maybe you can pass that CCNA, but if you're going for a CCNP, it's just, you know, it might be a wake up call here. But what we did is we made the list of the 4 of them, and we ordered them from most restrictive to least restrictive, because what a stub area does is it restricts the chatter of LSAs in the area, link state advertisements. So this is the order. The most restrictive is the totally stubby area, and totally you can think of as you know, summaries. Totally stubby means that it prevents some summaries. It doesn't allow. Yeah, it doesn't allow things to come in from the area, the autonomous system border router either. So then the next one is the not so stubby area with summaries. Now it does allow a special thing coming in, and then the not so stubby area and the stub area. So really what I want to focus on is showing the direction. So let's try to get a symbol dropped. Okay, so let's do this, and we're gonna have an arrow represented like that. So there's going to be things, basically a stub area. Yes, a stub area matters from the perspective of 2 devices. The first device it matters from to understand what's happening is the ABR, the area border router, because that's what makes it a stub area, right? Like it alters the kinds of link state advertisements that come into that area, right? So like type 3 come from the ABR, right? That like and the autonomous system border router, you know, it depends on where that is and what that is, right? But you know, it could come in that way. There's also the ASBR. So that's another device where it really matters to think of that perspective if you want to understand a stub area. So I'll add the arrow like this as well. Now, a stub area, it can't be in area 0. You can have an autonomous system border router in area 0. But area 0 can't be a stub, so that's going to affect it too. So let's drop another one here. So we're going to duplicate the symbol. It can't duplicate it while it's running, so we're going to stop this one and now duplicate it. There we go. And drop this here, and this is going to be a ASBR, and I need a break. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back, so it looks good. We've got an operation timeout here, not sure what that's all about. Alright, so let's duplicate one more. Alright, and this is where there's probably going to be another operation timeout. It's just not able to duplicate another one. Okay. For some reason, it's not able to duplicate another one. And for some reason, everything went up. Huh. Alright, well, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not able to duplicate another one. But that's okay. It's not a big deal. Yeah, operation timeout, I can't duplicate one. That's okay. So we'll change the host name of this to ASBR. So this is one of the things I talked about in my last video. It's really important that when you think of OSPF, saying that something's an OSPF network is really a wrong way to think about it, because no, it's not. Like networks, like these are networks, right? These point-to-point connections. You can also have like a broadcast network through a switch, or like, you know, through a hub. So it's like, you know, it's not an OSPF network. What it is it's an OSPF autonomous system, and that's important to understand that. Otherwise, you're going to have trouble understanding areas. You're going to have trouble understanding the behaviors of the LSAs. It's really important to know what it is and to call it as such. Okay, so if I change the host name to ASBR, then I get another operation timeout. All right, well, let's try to stop all the devices. I don't know why they all started. I don't remember giving that command. Maybe I accidentally hit this play button here. I just think it might run better if they're all stopped. Right now, there's an issue. It's timing out. So this is the thing too that's frustrating about. You know, it's like you have to balance your time. It's like there's no guarantees to pass, and this is what's really frustrating, is there's no guarantees to pass unless you dump, right? It's like it's such a like people want to say, like, you know, dumping is here's what I have to say about dumping. The fact that it exists and it's so prominent is not a sign that there's something wrong with it, you know, it's the way these tests are set up and designed. Really, well, I don't want to talk about dumping, to be honest. What I want to do is this demonstration on OSPF, but my lab is not behaving. It's like not even able to reach it yet. Yeah, see what I mean? Like, look at how much time I'm wasting, you know, trying to do things in a legit way, like having a home lab, going and doing hands-on exercises. It's like people who dump just memorize the dumps and take the test. They can get the cert in, you know, a few weeks, a few months. There's really not robust mechanisms to determine who dumped and who didn't. And in fact, those who dump actually, I think, seem like appear to know more, because, you know, they have it all in their memory. Like you know, memorizing the exact questions on an exam is not really a valid, you know, fair strategy, but certainly memorizing similar questions, memorizing practice questions and stuff is definitely a key part of learning. The book includes you know, flashcards for you to memorize. It includes do I know this already questions. So it's like it's not even completely an invalid strategy of learning something, you know, dumping. And then yeah, so it's like I feel like it's not test takers' fault that like these answers would be available. Like I really don't want to talk about dumping. What I want to do is these exercises, but yeah, my lab is broken. All right, so I'm just going to exit out, go back in, see if that helps. And yeah, so I lost connectivity to my lab for somehow. I don't know how. All right, I kind of wiggled the cords on it. Oh, did my firewall block it? I mean, that would make sense, right? If it was working and then all of a sudden it just stopped. I think that's probably what happened. Oh, no, it's there. Oh, now this is port 17. Oh, but it's allowing for all ports. Oh, for UDP. Does it allow for TCP? Here, this is probably the TCP rule. Yeah, this is the TCP rule. It allows it on all ports. So it's not the firewall. Yeah, it just stopped being able to. It was working, and then it just randomly stopped. See, it's so frustrating. It's like, there goes my time. Like I didn't accomplish anything, right? It's like this is the thing. It's like, oh, the lab itself isn't even. I mean, I can hear it. Why is it? Okay. Oh. Huh. It works if I have admin, but if I change the username. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, and I set it up to not need a password. All right. So I guess I'll check the GNS process. I mean, I can see it right here. Huh. Yeah, I think it's blocked. All right, let's go to ChatGPT.
The error message you're seeing in GNS3 indicates that the application is unable to connect to the server at /http://admin at 192.168.1. This could be due to several reasons: firewall or antivirus. Ensure that your firewall or antivirus software is not blocking the connection. You can try temporarily disabling them to see if the connection can be established.
Okay.
Network configuration. Verify that the IP address 192.168.1.100 is correct and that the server is reachable from your machine. You can try pinging the server or using a web browser to access the URL directly. Server status. Ensure that the GNS3 server is running and configured correctly. Check the server settings and make sure that it is listening on port 3080. Proxy settings. If you are behind a proxy, make sure that your proxy settings are correctly configured in GNS3. GNS3 configuration. Double check the settings in GNS3 to ensure that the server IP and port are correctly configured. Here's a step-by-step guide to troubleshoot this issue. Step 1. Check firewall and antivirus. Temporarily disable your firewall and antivirus software to see if it resolves the issue. If it is, create an exception for GNS3 in your firewall and antivirus settings. Step 2. Verify network connection. Open a command prompt and ping the server. If the server is reachable, you should see replies from the IP address. It looks like the command you tried didn't yield any results. This suggests that the GNS3 server might not be running or listening on port 3080. Let's try some additional steps to troubleshoot and resolve the issue.
There was a... No, they told me to use .find rather than grep. I gotta use grep. No, you told me to use find instead of grep. No, you told me to use find instead of grep. The correct command is grep.
It looks like the GNS3 server is running and listening on port 3080. Since the server is running, the next step will focus on ensuring the GNS3 client can connect to the server without being blocked by firewalls or misconfigurations. Steps to resolve connection issues: ensure no firewall blocking on the server machine. Ensure that the firewall allows traffic on port 3080. Use the following commands to check and allow the port if necessary. Verify GNS3 server configuration. Open the GNS3 client and go to Edit Preferences Server. Ensure the following settings: host binding 192.168.1.100. Port 3080. Click Apply and then OK. Test connection via browser. Open a web browser on the client machine and try to access the GNS3 server API. You should see a JSON response with the version information of the GNS3 server. Check GNS3 client logs. Check the logs of the GNS3 client for more detailed error messages. The logs can provide insight into why the client is unable to connect to the server. Restart GNS3 client and server. Sometimes a simple restart can resolve connectivity issues. Restart both the GNS3 client and the server. Network configuration. Ensure that both the client and server machines are on the same network and can communicate with each other. Use tools like ping or traceroute to verify the network path between the client and server. Additional troubleshooting. If a problem persists, consider the following. Check for IP address conflicts. Ensure no other devices using the IP address 192.168.1.100. Review network settings. Ensure there are no unusual network configurations or restrictions in place. By following these steps, you should be able to identify and resolve the connection issue between the GNS3 client and server. If you encounter specific error messages or further issues, please share them for additional assistance.
Alright, the firewall is now off. Alright, I think it is. I'll close this. No, it's not the firewall. Obviously, it's not the firewall. We saw that the rule was there. Alright, I'm going to turn my firewall back on. So, I mean, I installed a game recently. I installed Baldur's Gate 3. Does that use the same port? Is that what's going on? No, it's all ports. It uses whichever port it wants. Yeah, 3080 should be fine. Man, what is going on? It was working and then it just stopped. Well, I mean, I guess I can try unplugging it and plugging it back in again. Ah, that's too bad. I have no idea why it was up and then it just randomly went down. That's no good. Yeah, I wasted so much time. I wasted nearly a half an hour. Oh, I could have made progress in the reading. See, this is the struggles, and this is why viral is probably a good purchase. I'm kind of glad that to post this, to be honest, because you know, it just shows like if you could have less of these instances where things just randomly go wrong for no reason, and you're out, you know, a half an hour if you're lucky, probably more than that. Like it's probably worth paying. Like, you know, viral costs some money, I think, but you know, if I don't have to worry about this, and then, you know, I had to set this up, I had to have the expertise to do this. It's just a disaster. It went up and now it's down. Oh, didn't I set it up like this? Oh. Okay. Well, if I can't get it up, then I'll just move on to that'll be the end of this video. I don't want to waste any more time on it. So now it looks like the server itself isn't the daemon isn't booted up yet. The SSH daemon, or anything. Yeah, request is timing out. Oh, okay, that looks better. Yeah, still. Oh, connection refused. Yeah, that means that the daemon is like up, but it's not active yet. It's still like booting up. And that is so weird that it was working and then it just stopped. All right, this behavior is not unusual. It just means that it's still booting up. There we go. Now I'm in. So let's do GNS3 server. There we go. Okay. Well, yeah, that's a good sign. It means that it was already up. So. Okay. So now we're back in business. Okay. Now all my duplicates actually went through. So yeah, let's get rid of this one. Don't need it. Okay. Then rename this. And then we'll name this yet another AS. Okay. And then, I feel like I'm kind of out of time, out of momentum on this. So I'm going to have to come back and do this in another video. It's just I wasn't expecting my lab to do that. I still don't know what happened. I'm still kind of upset at why that happened. Let me try to boot everything up. Okay, and hopefully things are going to be better now. And I'll wire this up. Yeah, basically my goal was to learn more about link state advertisements and how they're changed by stub areas. And how they, yeah, it's just that lab, man, technical difficulties. This is what I mean. You try to do everything right, and as a result, you just get slaughtered. And I gotta wait for them to come up. Alright, this isn't the worst thing in the world though, because what I can do is just leave my lab up all day. That's fine, and then come back to this at another time. And I might want to get fancy with this too at some point and drop a Linux VM on it. I mean, I could even just because they have like telnet IPs, I could just get in that way. Yeah, so now it's trying to mount the CD-ROM, which is bad. I wish I could have it not do that. How do I make a Cisco Nexus not try to... How do I make a Cisco Nexus not try to mount a CD-ROM when it boots up?
To prevent a Cisco Nexus switch from attempting to mount a CD-ROM during the boot process, you will need to modify the boot parameters. Typically, this involves editing the boot configuration to remove any references to a CD-ROM.
Okay.
Here are the steps to accomplish this. Accessing the Cisco Nexus switch boot configuration, connect to the switch. Use a console cable to connect to the Cisco Nexus switch. Open a terminal emulator like PuTTY, TerraTerm, or HyperTerminal, and establish a console session with the switch. Enter bootloader mode. Power cycle the switch. During the boot process, press Ctrl+C or Ctrl+break when prompted to enter the bootloader or switch to bootloader mode. Modify boot parameters. In the bootloader prompt, access the boot configuration parameters. Example steps. Break into bootloader mode. After reboot, when you see the message, press Ctrl+C to interrupt auto boot. Press Ctrl+C. Modify the boot parameters. Once you are in the bootloader prompt, you can modify the boot parameters. Remove CD-ROM references. Enter the bootloader command to modify the boot parameters. Ensure that the lesson path to NXOS image greater than does not include any reference to a CD-ROM device. It should point directly to the NXOS image on the appropriate storage, e.g., boot flash. Example commands set the boot parameter to directly boot from an NXOS image. Verify the boot parameters. Save the configuration, if applicable. General recommendations check documentation. Always refer to the specific model's documentation for the exact commands and procedures, as they can vary between models. Verify boot configuration. After making changes, verify that the boot parameters are set correctly to ensure the switch boots as expected. Test changes. Reboot the switch to test that it no longer attempts to mount the CD-ROM and boots directly from the specified NXOS image. By following these steps, you should be able to configure your Cisco Nexus switch to avoid attempting to mount a CD-ROM during the boot process. If you have specific model details or encounter issues, please provide additional information for more tailored assistance.
Alright, well, it's kind of no sense in just having... Well, I mean, I want to do a quick check before I move on. But time is ticking away fast. Time is ticking away very, very, very fast. All right. I mean, I kind of want people to see this because, you know, it was not easy to get this home lab up, and it's just, you know, if you can get something like viral, you know, that might help a lot. Oh, okay, I've got the login now. Hopefully there's something where I can... Is there anything to do with a CD-ROM? No, it's booting from the flash. Boot order, that could be it. Boot flash. There's no CD-ROM option. Alright, well, I don't know what's going on. Okay, well, I think this is a decent time to end the... Well, it's so tempting because I've got everything up now. But it just took a lot of time. Oh, man. What the heck is this all about? Ooh. Retry the command. Alright, well... Oh, this one's not even set up yet. Oh, I thought doing it from a template. I thought I didn't have to do that because I was doing it from a template. What device is this? This device just randomly got destroyed. Why is it not the same as the template device? Well, I don't want to go through... Yeah, I guess I'm going to get rid of this device if it's not the same as the template device. Because this one is, right? It's got a host name and everything. Yeah, template next is host name. All right. Well, yeah, I don't want this device if it's not. Is this gonna tank the connection again? Ah, I think it is. See, I think what's happening is it's just too busy. It's like it's trying to do all this stuff and it's like not able to handle the workload. Yeah, C is the compute manager. I bet you the. Oh no, it's all quiet here. What the heck?
The error message, error while getting compute list, operation timeout, suggests that the GNS3 client is having trouble communicating with the compute server, leading to a timeout. Here are some steps you can take to troubleshoot and resolve this issue. Steps to resolve the timeout error: verify compute server status. Ensure that the compute server is running and accessible. If the compute server is running on a remote machine, ensure that it is powered on and connected to the network. Check network connectivity. Verify that there are no network issues preventing communication between the GNS3 client and the compute server. Use ping or traceroute to check connectivity. Firewall and security settings. Ensure that there are no firewall rules or security settings blocking the required ports for GNS3. Open the necessary ports, typically 3080, on both the client and server machines. On Linux, you can check and modify firewall settings using UFW. Check compute server configuration. Ensure the compute server is correctly configured to listen for connections from the GNS3 client. Check the configuration file, GNS3_server, conf, for any misconfigurations. Increase timeout settings. If the network latency is high, you might need to increase the timeout settings in the GNS3 client configuration.
Alright, so I think it just maxed out. Maybe it maxed out and then went back down. But we can see that it's a compute message. Something about doing that action. And this is the other thing I hate about GNS. So why doesn't it allow me to scroll and see everything on there? And then yeah, I can ruin my topology, but I can't see this. Okay, well, now I can't even see that. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there. Now that's booting up. That looks better. Let's change the oh, this is still booting up. So yeah, with that, I think unfortunately I can't. And you know, like if I do a really good OSPF lesson, 45 minutes into the video, what good is that? So yeah, 48 minutes. So this is the best I can do. Unfortunately, my lab just randomly behaved in an erratic way that I wasn't able to predict. I mean, we can see what happened. There was an error getting the compute list, and it resolved here, but last time it didn't resolve. It persisted as an error. So yeah, the time down the drain. I hate that. I guess let this be a lesson to anyone out there. You know, it probably is a good investment for something like viral or some sort of. If you're CCNA, like, oh, don't worry about this. Just do packet tracer, please. Like, you know, it's this is hard. So with that, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.